Y'all, Dems are running headlong into a bear trap. I mean, like, the blinders are on and they are about to walk straight into a detrimental tiger pit, huge, massive trap. And all the Republicans have to do is let them do it. This is amazing. The clips that they just released on the House floor today, oh man, manna from heaven. Republicans, for the love of God, let them do this. Everything will be linked in the description box below, guys. I'm going to walk through the entire thing right now. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on, because that notification bell is being lazy as hell this week. So the more you engage, the more you tell it to get up off its butt. All right, let's dive right into this. Of course, please, that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn the notification bell on, as I mentioned, but let's set the baseline. I told you in a previous video a couple days ago, Republicans, you have an opportunity upon opportunities to let the Democrats start doing a standing filibuster in the floor of the Senate, the well of the Senate, and start explaining why everyone's too stupid to get an ID to vote. Please do it. Have it all on camera, and you literally are a content printing machine for the midterms. Unbelievably amazing. They're starting to do it in the House, but just imagine, Republicans, I'm painting a beautiful picture for you. Imagine that the content fairy comes down from on high, and the Democrats just start talking, and all you have to do is hand them a microphone like that. Be like, no, go on, please, how do you really feel? It is literally that easy. Free advice. All right, here you go, watch. This is the baseline. Of course, I've shown you this a couple times. When MSNBC is telling you the voter ID resistance the Democrats are putting up is idiotic because of the polling numbers, it's pretty bad. Watch this, and then I'm going to show you what the Democrats are doing on the floor of the House. Manna from heaven.
But polling does suggest, there's a new Pew Research poll, that 95% of Republicans, but also 71% of Democrats like this idea. So why do you not?
It's Jim Crow 2.0. And I called it Jim Crow 2.0, and the right wing went nuts.
I don't care what you say. You grilled cheeseburgers with plastic on it. All right, 95% Republicans, 71% Democrats. That's the baseline, okay? Now, let me walk you through, oops, that's the wrong thing. Let me walk you through exactly what they're doing on the floor of the House right now. And I'm serious. You are going into a midterm where you need to have something to hang your hat on for ads. They're about to make ads even less expensive. How about you just let the Democrats start calling voter ID white supremacists? Oh yeah, that's before the women are too stupid to get IDs. What? Literally, guys, they're just lining it up for you. My God. Okay, here we go.
Look, as I hear my colleagues on the other side of the aisle, what I hear is the same racist, misogynistic trash, different decade. Republicans are invoking historical policies intended, let's be clear, to disenfranchise Americans, especially working people, women, students, indigenous people, and anyone who can't afford the burdens of a new bill. The Save America Act is yet another Republican attempt to intimidate and suppress the votes of anyone who threatens their extremist white supremacist agenda.
Extremist white supremacist agenda. Hey guys, I'm gonna come here real quick. Republicans, again, this is free. Is it racist or white extremism or white supremacist to ask for an ID to board a plane or to buy alcohol or to do anything else in our nation that requires an ID, like buy a firearm or, I don't know, even enter a basic telephone contract? Like for a cell phone carrier? Is all of that racist, extremist, and white supremacist too? Because literally the content writes itself with these morons doing this crap. All you gotta do is let them do it. Please, let them get up there and do a filibuster for 100+ hours talking about how women can't figure out how to get IDs, which is provided by the government. They're too stupid and lazy to get their own IDs per the Democrats' opinions. Watch. Y'all, this is literally content from heaven.
They're trying to say this is a voter ID bill. That's not what's happening here. Let's just look at a typical mom. You guys must know some working mothers.
This is second in command of the Democrats in the House, by the way.
Across my district and across this country, they are struggling to put food on the table for their kids, working 2 jobs to try and make ends meet, trying to juggle getting their kids to school, maybe catching an occasional game, fearing they're never going to be able to find childcare they can afford, and praying nobody in the family gets sick because they can't afford a doctor either. And now you're going to say to those women, because they got married and changed their names, they have to go down to a clerk and prove they're citizens, sign affidavits, do this in person. This is a minefield of red tape that you have put in front of women and American citizens.
My God, get the freaking violins out and cry me a river. First of all, let's just dismantle and analyze what she just went down. Single mothers out there trying to feed their babes, clothed in rags underneath some stairs in the rich man's house. Okay, that's a bit extreme. But anyway, I understand people have different economic environments and economic situations. I understand that. I'm not making fun of single women. I'm not making fun of single mothers. But I am making fun of the extreme hyperbole that is being offered by the second in command by the Democrats. And then, after all of that Crimea River song, that whole thing is completely wiped away because now they're married and now the real super evil thing happens. Because they're now married and all those other scrimping and saving and all those things are now gone with your simple statement of getting married. So we can throw that out the window. Now it's a tremendous burden to go down to a clerk and show who you are with a birth certificate, which is completely is provided by the state or the federal government for free. Oh my God, the burden in filling out forms and so much red tape. Hey, we're gonna touch on this in a second again. Please, second in command Democrat Katherine Clark from Massachusetts, tell me about how much you hate red tape about all of your gun control infringements that you put on the population of Massachusetts. You want to talk about red tape? ID requirements, waiting period requirements, vouching of personal information, vouching of character, concealed carry requirements, fingerprinting requirements. You want to talk about red tape? The Democrats live in a world where red tape is just all on their arm, and they're just like, here's some for you, and here's some for you, and here's some for you. You are asking for an ID to vote, the same ID that we asked you to buy a gun, get concealed carry, and even have your permit on you at all times. That unconscionable. We would ask you for an ID. It's fine for them. It's not fine for voting in an election. Okay, now let's go on right next to the absolute stupidity. This part is glorious, and this one is going to resonate particularly with my 2A veterans. I'm going to jump right in here to about the 45-minute or 45-second segment because she says a very bad word that is off limits for a lot of people in this clip. It's linked in the description, and I'm not going to air it because I'll get in trouble even though the Democrats said it. But anyway, let's keep on going. This is about poll taxes. Again, poll taxes. Requiring a voting ID is now a poll tax, which is unconstitutional. And you know what else is unconstitutional? All other tax on rights. Again, my 2A veterans are right there screaming right now. Blood's popping out of your eyes. Don't worry. We got you. We got you. This is where it all blends together. Watch this.
Vote. But my grandfather had to pay poll taxes to be able to vote in Tennessee. All of this was done to make sure that local election officials could deny people they didn't want to vote the ability to vote. And I took my oath of office on the Bible that my father kept his poll tax receipt, which is standing behind me, because he kept it in there because it was sacred right. And I swore to uphold, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States, all of it.
All of it? Even that little pesky Second Amendment part? Because I'm pretty sure, before I even get into the Second Amendment spiciness, which I'm going to fully get into, I'm pretty sure I remember that the poll taxes being utilized as tools by Democrats to keep African Americans voting in the Southern Democratic South. I seem to remember that. I also seem to remember the Republicans were the ones that were pushing for the Civil Rights Act. Should we bring that up, or should we just leave that one alone? Because history has a funny way of kicking all these talking points right in the proverbial gonads. But anyway, Let's keep going about how poll taxes are illegal and unconstitutional. And she swore to uphold the entire Constitution, not just parts of it, except that whole Second Amendment part where you actually have to have an actual tax for specific items because Congress decided to do that in 1934. But that, again, that is not a tax on a right. But a poll tax is bad, and a voter ID is bad because that's a poll tax. But actual taxes required for you to have Second Amendment items, that is perfectly fine. You see how all of this is duplicitous? The content writes itself. Okay, let's keep on going.
That includes the 24th Amendment that banned poll taxes. And yet the SAVE Act is a modern-day poll tax because every ID that you would have to use to register and to vote, with maybe one exception, costs money. And the one that is free is a military ID. But for our military...
Okay, so it's a poll tax because the government says pay for the ID to make it neutral. That's the poll tax now, huh? A poll tax was literally put in place to actually pay while you voted. But having an ID at any point during the entire year and having to pay for the actual cost so the government doesn't absorb it, that's a poll tax now. Do we need to start cracking open the Second Amendment infringements that you're perfectly fine with poll taxing and taxing rights, or should we just leave that one shut? Or should we revisit the whole idea around the Democrats in the South that weaponize poll taxes against African Americans, and then Republicans were the ones fighting it? Should we crack that one open too? Y'all, this is why I say, for the love of God, let them get up there and continue to talk. Because every single time that they start to run out of things to say, they start talking out their butts and they look real stupid. And it's not hard. If a guy on the internet can do it, an entire RNC or an entire White House administrative staff with $700 million can do a bang-up job. Anyway, that's what I've got for you guys. Let me know what you think in the comments field below. I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. Later.